Okay, welcome everybody. Heather Portwood and I are coming to you live on this Monday morning to chat about some tips. We are officially in our busy, exciting growth harvest time of the fall, and our holiday catalog launches today. We have kind of all been prepping for this moment. Heather and I have had a number of phone calls over the last couple of weeks just talking about this, preparing for it. And so we want to give you guys some tips of some things that we have seen in our time with Young Living, just some things that we know happen every year and some things that we have seen, the people that really, are wanting to make the most of this, things that like practical tips that you can be doing and stay focused on through the holiday season that is really going to propel you for the spring. And so anyway, Heather, if you want to kind of kick us off, and I'll just kind of follow along with you, and I've got my notes too. So
okay. Well, thank you guys for taking the time to get on and listen. And for those of you listening to the recording, this season that we go into, if you've been doing this any longer than a year or 2 years, you know that this is kind of our springboard season. If you've just stepped in, it's super exciting. If you've been around for the entire year, then this is kind of where, our OGV goes up, our people hit ranks, they go up in rank. Very seldom do they go down in rank. So this is just super exciting. This is also the time, like we've talked about a lot of things over the year of just leading up to this. And one really huge thing is your leaders. I know Nikki, and I'm your leader over everybody in here, and I know that I have supported and done things, but your leaders have all had classes available for you almost weekly, or something a couple of times a month for a really long time. So I would really take into consideration that if you have not done a personal class of your own, especially an in-person class, if you have not done one recently, I would highly consider doing one this month or next month for sure. It's a really important part of the season as far as, getting together and community. And it's also, I think you would be missing out if you didn't. This is also a time of the year where you're either invested in doing things or you're not. And then by the time January gets here, you're going to wish you had. So just stepping out and starting to plan things, get things on your calendar for this week and next week and next month. And just, get those things scheduled.
So I completely agree. One of the things that is really important for me to do that I have to really focus on is following up. So if you have 5 minutes, whether you are at work or you have you go and take a water break and you fill up your water bottle, step aside for a second and write down in your phone people that you have talked to and met that maybe they've mentioned, or asked you questions like, what is this oils thing? And they were curious about it. That's a great time to like drop them off a sample of something, drop them off. Heather is really good with following up with diffuser baskets, having some type of little thing for them to try. Those are those extra steps of you just reaching out to those people that maybe seemed interested, or maybe you're in a new book club, or you started, your kids are going to a new gymnastics studio. Reach out to them and see if you could, bring them in, snacks or something and talk during one of their breaks and present the oils to them, just like passing around the oils, talking about how you can use it in that business or in that studio. Be thinking about what circles are you already present in. It's so much easier to get into those circles that you already have a foot in, or your daughter or your son already have a foot in, or your husband already has a foot in. The other thing that I've talked with Heather a lot about is trying to get better at asking for referrals. That's something that every business does. I know my realtor still that we bought this house with 6 years ago, she still sends me postcards asking for referrals. That's something that's super normal. And that's a great follow-up with somebody that maybe ordered a kit from you a month ago, just following up with them, asking how they're doing, taking care of them, and then just saying, it would mean a lot to me if you know of anybody that would benefit from these oils. I would love for you to pass along my name and my contact information, because I would love to be able to help them get started with the oils too. So just those are all ways to kind of help to get the ball rolling if you don't know where to start. Follow up is like the fortune's in the follow up. There's a reason why that is such a phrase, and that's the hardest thing to do. It's really easy just to have a quick conversation with somebody, but then to actually follow up and close the sale, that's what really needs to happen in order to make your OGB and your enrollment go up, and then your team will do the same. So,
I think if you want to mute Rachel's mic. Another thing too that you brought up, Nikki, that got me thinking. A couple of years ago, back when I had somebody helping during the day watch the kids, there was a couple of teachers that I had on my team, and we set up during their lunchtime, and I came up and I've done so many lunchtime presentations, and I know you have too, Nikki. I mean, that's just a perfect opportunity. People are already gathered in an area. I mean, just reach out to people and see if you could maybe go do a class, or maybe you could do a short winter wellness class while you're, on their lunch break. So I have done numerous of those. Sorry, my phone's going crazy. Numerous of those things, even especially during this time of year, the fall, not necessarily the holidays, but this is typically when people would want to know more about oils, is, getting into the sick season. So take advantage of that too if you haven't asked your teacher friends, or if your mom, like I have held several up at my mom's work. She works over at Express Personnel, and I've gone up there and done several over the years. I've done a couple with her at her gym. She set it up and I went and taught. And I mean, there were people who came, and, enrollments that came from that. What was the next thing on our list, Nikki?
Okay. Earning your Christmas bonus. So yeah, that's kind of the next thing. I guess that's really good to think about. So Heather and I were talking about how in all the other, businesses that you do, well, actually I shouldn't say in all, in some other businesses that you do, you hope for a Christmas bonus, right? But that's not in all of them. I know most teachers do not get a Christmas bonus, right? In fact, a lot of people take on a second job to be able to pay for Christmas to happen. When I taught childbirth classes, I taught an entire extra 12-week course over the Christmas holiday so that I could pay for my kids' Christmas, right? And just to be able to pay for Christmas. So this is kind of thinking like that, except it's an awesome residual income that you will then benefit from for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a quick cash thing, but you really need to think of it like a business, like running it like a business. And maybe you need to step it up and work some extra hours with your Young Living business right now and really be intentional with it. We'll talk about kind of working in the fringe hours, but Heather and I both, I worked full time up until I hit silver. So it wasn't, and I had 2 other part-time jobs, plus I was doing Young Living. So I consider that full time, because when I put it all together, I was. So it wasn't until, don't think that all of us had all this extra time just to be able to hit to a higher rank.
Or extra money. I mean, when we were first starting, I was that person that was going through everything in the house to be able to take, my good quality kids resell stuff up to Once Upon a Child to try to get extra cash for Christmas, or taking my gently used stuff up to the, resale shop. I did that every single year. Yep. At the time I only had 3 kids. I watched other moms' kids.
Yep.
Including mine. I mean, you have to, it's just, money is not always there. You have to figure out ways to make it. And this is a perfect opportunity for that, just by hosting a couple of classes.
Yep.
Plus, it benefits your Young Living business, and so on and so forth. So, it's the same thing. Like if our kids come to us and they're like, I need money for this, or I need money for that. I mean, very seldom do we just be like, here's $50.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just that it's like, okay, well, you need to figure out some more chores to do, or, if my kids were older, they would probably be babysitting. I'm going to set up, probably there's quite a few older people in the neighborhood that were talking about needing poop picked up. So I'm going to, if they want to do that, but it's just, you wouldn't just be like, here's my credit card.
Yeah.
Here's $50.
Yeah. So I guess this is kind of twofold. Like, number one, over the holidays, you guys are wanting to, we're all wanting to help to boost our OGV and grow a business. So that means working a little extra, being more focused, right? And then on the other side, it's, rather than thinking, oh my gosh, I want to be able to place a big order for Young Living, but then how do I, also do one for the holiday catalog? Like my goal is to sign up 4 people this month, which I've already done 1, and I've got 3 more that I'm following up with today, because I have been really focusing on enrollments. So with those enrollments, I get paid $50 for every enrollment. That's going to pay for my next holiday order, and then I'll get commissions on that, and then it's growing my legs. So you have to think of it differently. You have to think of it as in, all those steps that I'm doing right now are going to help to pay for my order, number 1, which was my very first goal. And then number 2 is to help to grow my business to go to a higher rank, right? Because my next goal is Diamond. Heather's next goal is Crown. And so it's like, okay, just kind of thinking it through there. But if you have people that are thinking, oh, there's no way that I can afford the holiday catalog, one way that you can tell them is the best way to be able to afford it, and how I did it was I just shared with my friends and family, and I got a $50 thank you check for each of those kits that I sold. And that helped me to be able to afford those extra items that were really awesome for my family. So Young Living has it set up so that we don't have to necessarily take out of our pocketbooks. We can have it be paid for, which I really love. So kind of having it in that mindset.
Okay, let's talk about, because especially people on here, let's talk about follow-up, and let's talk about taking care of our team. So this is something that kind of either you're really good at, you need some work on, or you just don't do it all. Those are the 3 things that I've figured out. So if you are, even executive, silver, you have, well, really anybody, even if you just have a couple of people under your team, we are kind of set apart as the health and wellness company that we are. We're different from like a lot of other network marketing companies. Like I brought up whenever we talked about this the other day, like companies that sell a t-shirt or clothing or jewelry or the nail stuff. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily be as concerned to follow up and be like, so did those nails, did they work out good? Were you satisfied with the length of time that they stayed on? Did you get to do a Facebook Live of doing dishes while you had those on? Did they stay? I mean, we are checking up on people's health and well-being because we found such value in this company that we said yes to it, that we said, yes, we will share about it. And in that yes is also helping people in their health and wellness. And that is a huge thing to say yes to. That's why a lot of people don't share. They just order for themselves because they don't want to be responsible for somebody else's health and wellness. That's just the fact of it. So when you say yes to this business, and I know we all have seasons where we're on and we're all in and we're sharing. And then we have seasons where maybe we need to take a little step back and take a break. It's like when you say, I'm going to take a break, we need to have this mindset of, okay, you need to work with your upline to make sure that these people are being taken care of. To just completely step away from this business and not have any sense of like ownership or accountability towards the people and the well-being of the people that you've shared with is really, I'm just going to be honest, it's really shady. It's really what kind of taints people's perspective of these kinds of businesses. I have personally experienced this where I stepped away from people. This is all a learning process, all of it. Like none of this are you expected to know when you start sharing. I didn't. And then there are people who just kind of feel like, well, that's why their kit never got used. That's why their kit went up into the cabinet in the kitchen or in the bathroom and never got used. And 3 years later, it's out in the garage sale table, or it's on Marketplace on Facebook, or it's on Amazon. I mean, that's the whole reality of this. And so I would just really encourage any of you that have, you're on here obviously because you want to be a leader, you want to share, you want to be successful in this business. So look at your team and think about, how can I best serve my people? Because I will just tell you, it shows itself time and time and time and time again. If you are not trustworthy and if you are not taking care of the people that you have now, you will not get more. It's just, for whatever reason, it's some kind of law in this business. It's a thing of reaping and sowing, and call it karma, whatever you want, to call it. But that's it. It just never have I ever somebody who doesn't do anything or take care of their members really well grow at all. And so just especially as we go into the season that tends to reap abundance, try to have some focus and some mental energy towards that area of, how can I really take care of my people? It doesn't have to be anything lavish or extravagant. For me, a lot of my time is spent on texting and checking up on people and calling them. And this is another thing that I wanted to lead up to with this. If you have a leg that is struggling, if you are struggling in general with growth, you got to get on the phone. It's just, if you've been doing this for a while, or even before I think really the past 3 years, I have seen a significant change in the way we communicate with people. We grew up on the phone. There is no need to be afraid of the phone or the conversation on the other end of the phone. It's simply, hi, I'm Heather. I'm part of your Young Living leadership. I'm just calling to see, how you're doing, see how you're liking the oils, if there's anything I could help with.
And then you just pause.
And then you let the conversation go. I will tell you, the majority of the people that I have that have become a business builder from me personally, that's how it starts. It doesn't start from me inviting them to a leadership conference. It doesn't start from me sending them a business builder bundle package with all the handouts to give out. It doesn't start in my personal experience. It hasn't started outside of a personal relationship with me and that person that more than likely started on the phone. And it's just gotten to where that person was comfortable enough with me. They saw my growth, and then they wanted to participate in that. But getting on the phone is really, really important. And I would just suggest that's what I want you to do. If you are struggling, if you sit down and you look at all these things and you think, okay, I've got to get this leg going, or I have this thunder thigh over here and how am I going to get to the next rank? call, sit down and just call. And maybe Nikki, you want to talk about how, like, some examples of calling time? No, you don't have to leave the house. And
right. Okay. Yes. So I hear a lot of like people saying, well, I just don't have the time to do this. So what I want you guys to know is most of the time when you're talking to me, I am driving or walking the dog or doing other things, right? Like you might hear me huffing and puffing if I'm walking the dog in the morning, or you might hear me pause for a second because I'm needing to get onto the highway and I have my earbuds in. Like I'm going and doing things. And when I first started, I was working at a Mother's Day out in preschool 4 days a week, and then teaching evenings childbirth classes. And so I would, over my 30-minute lunch break, I would do follow-ups. And I know there's a lot of other people on here that have done this as well. And we'd love, if you have any tips as well. But it's like over the lunch breaks, first thing in the morning before I would go to work, I would see if there's any messages and I would just shoot a couple answers back. I would always point people to reference books rather than making yourself be the expert. Say, oh, did you check in your reference book yet? Or send a picture, text a picture for the reference book. It's, oh yeah, it's right here. Or it's in our product group. Here's the screenshot of it, just redirecting people. But it's all about working in those fringe hours. So don't think that you have to have, Heather has lots of babies and she homeschools.
There's no way that I could possibly.
There's no way that she can like sit down and wait until the whole house is nobody's there. The dog is outside, like everything's quiet. Like you're never going to grow your business. And don't keep trying to reorganize your office to make the whole office perfect. Like if you saw my office right now, well, and Phil and I share it, it's like, it's crazy right now because I've got stuff going in all these different directions. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's never going to happen. You're going to stay at your rank, at the exact same rank every single year, right? So it's all about, just being really organized. And if that takes you sitting down and saying, what am I doing? Like, what am I actually doing to grow my business? That's probably a great place to start. You literally sit down and you think, what am I doing? Am I scrolling Facebook? Am I waiting to see what everybody's posting? Like, or are you actually going to events? Like if you live in Kansas City, like I've got an event tomorrow night. Like, are you coming to that? Do you want to come to that? Do you want to bring a friend? In Oklahoma City, Heather has events. We have an event. Sarah Johnson is coming and she's speaking. She's doing the Healing Wells of the Bible class. Like, are you going to those events? Are you encouraging people to go? Are you sending them emails and personal messages saying, hey, I grabbed the ticket. I would love to come pick you up. We can go together. It's like that type of, action where you're making it happen rather than just tagging people and hoping that they see it. So yeah, working in the fringe hours, working in these little snippets of time. Madison Vining, who's our RCD, said, hitting, she hit diamond 5 minutes at a time. It's like focused time where you just get it done. And I have a magic list on Sundays. I make a list of my top priorities and then I number them. So it's like my main thing that I have to get done. I have that as my top priority. That's like the main thing I need to do. And then all the extra stuff that hopefully will get done, by Friday. So just really being focused with your work.
Yeah. What else was on? Do you have anything else on your list?
Well, one other thing that we didn't write down is, and you already gave an example of like what to say when you call somebody. Could you also give an example of how you leave a message? Because a lot of times when you give somebody a call, you're just going to leave a message and you have to tell yourself like it's still a point of contact. You're still calling, they're still hearing your voice. So anyway, maybe just giving that example, and we could do a role play if you want to, but.
No, it's just, hi, my name's Heather. I'm part of your Young Living Leadership. I was just calling to see how you were doing with your kit and see if you had any questions that you needed answered. I would love to chat and talk to you as soon as you're able. If you can give me a call back at . And then usually what I'll do is if they haven't called me back, I will text them one more time, like a couple of days later.
Yep.
And kind of gauge that from where I go from there. Like, I'm not going to hound them. Maybe they don't have any, obviously they don't have any questions.
Sure.
So from there, I'll just but I don't just leave the message and then not follow up. I will follow up one more time. But, you know, I have people who contact me back. I have people who will text me back. I have people that won't do anything. You'll find that too if you start doing project broadcast. It's kind of the same thing. Like, I've only had a handful of people ever be rude. Like, people are not typically rude about you checking up on them and a purchase that they made. I mean, this is not like a simple purchase for a lot of people. I mean, this is like an investment for a lot of people, and for it to be something that it just goes up on a shelf because they don't know what to do with it is kind of like a little unfortunate, and that's partly our fault.
Hey, girls.
Go ahead, Casey.
Hey, good morning. Hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Hey, I just wanted to mention I love the calling idea and all of that. And sometimes, for some reason, it doesn't feel as weird, for whatever reason, to send them a message on Facebook, like a voice text, because you can do that in a voice text.
Yep.
And that was discussed this weekend at Diamond Bound. So Heather, I totally agree with you. I mean, there's something powerful about hearing your voice and supporting them. So that's another option if you don't have their phone number for whatever reason,
or if you're skittish of the phone.
Right. I mean, whatever. But yeah, sending them a voice text on Facebook. And I love sending voice text. That's my favorite thing to do.
Yep. Right. I mean, there's just so much more like, oh, okay, I can really hear that Casey really, truly is wanting to know how I'm doing. Like, really wants to know. Yes, exactly. So I think that's a great tip. And it really humanizes us, is what it is.
And another thing too, I wanted to mention, because I had just talked to Tiffany earlier, and she mentioned that Erin had said this at Diamond Bound, but I have heard her say this before, and other leaders. Something also to think about as we go into this season of like buckling down and focusing. Really look at the past 10 people that you've enrolled. Look in your personally enrolled in the back office. Did you enroll them from Facebook? Did you enroll them from Instagram? Did you enroll them personally in a class? Did you enroll them in a one-on-one? Did you enroll them from, how did you enroll them? That is probably, look at the most of those people. That's where you excel.
Yep.
I am not going to be right now in my life a huge Instagram enroller. I'm not on there enough. I don't take I excel at one-on-ones. That's where I've enrolled the most amount of people, and in personal classes. So that's where my niche is. That's where people, gather the most from me and me the most. So kind of instead of, I know I go back and forth with this because we hear a lot of things from different leaders, but like if you're spending a lot of time learning Instagram, you're not enrolling people.
Yeah.
So it's just another, or whatever. I mean,
right. Like if you already love Instagram and know it well, then heck yes, run with that.
Yes.
But like for me, I was teaching childbirth classes in a Mother's Day and preschool, and I love working with mamas. And so I'm like, bring me all the mamas. Right? Like I want to work with them. So that works for me. A lot of you guys were teachers. So it's like, okay, you had all these people, and you still do. You just have to, whether you have quit that like Casey, or whether you retired like my mom, it's like you still have these huge networks. It's just reaching out to them and asking, hey, can we go grab a coffee? Right? Can I meet you for lunch somewhere? Or can we grab a coffee? Or do you have Saturday morning available? I'd love to buy you a coffee, and we can just kind of chat through this, So yeah, just thinking through what circles that you have, and that you still have. Okay, we talked about a lot. I feel like we're almost done. Working in the fringe hours, follow-up checkup. I feel like that's pretty much it. Was there anything else that you can think of, Heather?
No, I think just the main reason for even wanting to have this talk is just to kind of really inspire you guys to realize what this season is. It's super, super important, and it's sometimes just kind of frustrating to get into January and you have leaders who just didn't. And it's not like it's all your time. It's like, this isn't like I want you to work 60 hours a week. This is like, let's do a little bit of the extra things that maybe we didn't do during the summer, because we had kids home, vacations, whatever, kind of getting back into that groove, and rather than miss the boat, so to speak.
I thought of one other thing. I just really want to share with you guys also, there's a lot of people that don't have the community like what we have. Like our team is a community where we literally are taking care of each other. We are there for each other. And if I miss a question, somebody else is going to pick it up. Like, we are here to take care of each other and to remind each other. Like, even I'll message Casey or I'll message Heather or Whitney, and I'll be like, I've got a really bad chest thing. Remind me the things I need to be doing. Like, I know the stuff, but sometimes we just need help. Like, we are here to take care of each other, which is such a strong bond. You guys, people need this. They not only need the oils, but they need a community. They need somebody to help them in this journey. They need people to give them tools to not only empower them as the, gatekeepers of their home, but to also empower them to say, you can make better decisions, and we are here for you, and we're going to link arms with you. That is really the thing that fires me up, especially going into the holiday season. You guys, it can be really lonely for a lot of people. And what I'm saying, why I'm saying that is really lean into the fact of hey, we're here to help you. I'm going to help you all along this journey. And we have this amazing organization where we are going to, if you've got a question, this is the place to ask. We've got all the tools. We're excited to help you. That really is going to connect with people a whole lot more than trying to sell a kit. Really show them this lifestyle, really show them our community. The community that we have and the Crossline friends that we have is a support network. And you guys, it sounds crazy because it's so normal for us, but the majority of people out there do not have a support network. They have zero. They might have their pediatrician and the nurses at the pediatrician's office, but that's not a support network. I don't need somebody telling me, yeah, your kid needs another antibiotic. That's not supporting me. So anyway.
Kristen just asked verbiage about asking for referrals. I just simply say, do you know anybody who you think wouldn't mind if I called them, or you gave me their contact info to see if they would be interested in having a wellness class, and then just kind of go from there. I mean, usually most of the time I have people say, let me think about it and I'll get back to you, which is fine. And then sometimes I have people some of my closer friends, they're like, well, actually, I've done a couple for sisters of some friends of mine, or moms of friends. The moms will do it in a heartbeat. But if you can tell them, I say, I need some more practice, or I'm trying to hit a goal, just you kind of almost have to gauge by who you're talking to. That kind of motivates them if they're going to ask somebody else, if they're going to give me their contact information. But usually the people that I'm asking, again, these are the reasons why you follow up with people and build relationship with people on your team, so that those types of questions aren't awkward, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, I literally just say, hey, Kristen, I know you bought a kit a couple weeks ago, and we've been chatting about how you've been using the oils. It would be such a huge compliment to me, and it would just make I don't know, how would I want to say this? It would mean so much to me if you ever know of anyone that would benefit from these oils, just to pass along my contact information, or for you to share their information with me so that I can share the oils with them too. You just kind of put yourself out there and just say, if you know of anyone that would benefit, just to connect the two of us together, that would mean so much to me. And literally just keeping it short and sweet. Like Phil does this all the time with his sales, with his IT sales. It's constantly about referrals all the time. It's about referrals. Like that's their advertising. Yes, they do some advertising other places, but it's all referrals. And that's how Young Living is too. It's like, oh yeah, I knew about oils from, or I overheard them when I went and got a massage, a couple, months ago, but they didn't really say very much. So that was like the first, like, oh, my massage therapist does this, And so then it's like, people get more used to it. And then once somebody refers them, they're more comfortable with it. It's like, oh, Heather knows that person, so I'm more comfortable with it. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, I would just like write out what, like how you want to say it. And then you just approach that person and maybe you send them a Facebook Messenger, you literally give them a call or even just a text message and just kind of asking for that referral, or just the next time you're talking with them and following up. So,
I mean, there's lots of different, I mean, I think this is the part where we just need to get creative in our areas where we excel. Like another way that I've done it in the past too is, do you have anybody who you might know that might be interested in like me coming over and helping them with their products in their home to show them what products are really have a lot of chemicals in it. I've had 2 people who took me up on that in the past, and I just kind of came over and we just went through the labels. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm hoping will kind of happen with my class tonight is the people coming may know some people who also are interested in getting chemicals out of their home. Not everybody is as savvy about this information as we think they are. We've just been in this kind of bubble that we've, been wanting to get chemicals out. Go to your next door neighbor. They have, their cabinets are still filled with everything.
Yeah.
Breeze, Clorox. So it's, do something at your house too. This is just why I'm loving the creativity of people and how they're, doing classes and getting referrals. It's really fun.
Yep. And if you've been doing the same thing and you're not getting a great response, then it's time to switch it up. It's time to switch it up. And call your upline if you want to bounce off ideas, but it's like, there's so many ideas in the Grow group. There's tons of ideas of like ways that people have reached out.
Yeah. That group it's
amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. So just scan through there and you'll get some other ideas. But anyway, fill up those calendars, you guys. I feel like, Heather and I and everybody that has been doing this for a number of years, like it's go time. I'm doing my hair a lot less these days. I'm all about the ball cap, and I've told Phil and the girls, like, it's time to step it up with chores. Like they are just doing more because mama is busy, and that's just how it is. But you know what? I'm going to take off. We're going to go on a little family vacation this next weekend. I'm going to take off for the holidays. Like I took a half day on Friday to go visit or to be with my kids. Like there's still a lot of like wiggle room, and there's such beauty in what I'm doing. But like right now it's like go time, and your calendars, like look at your calendars. If they're wide open, fill them up, you guys. And it doesn't have to be like full on classes. Like send a message to somebody and just go have coffee and be happening to wear joy and see how the conversation leads. But just be putting yourself out there. Any other messages? I'm not looking at the chat.
No, Bethany says fun ideas are way more exciting than just one-on-ones.
Yes.
And then Kristen said she just asked for some referrals. Good job, Kristen.
Yay.
Gail, I will see you tonight.
Yay. Okay, awesome. Okay.
So everybody needs to probably hang tight for a bit, and then we can start sharing about the catalog in just a bit.
Yeah. So maybe Heather, can you just spend like one more minute just saying if you are a senior star or an executive on this call, they don't have Project Broadcast. What did we do for like 5 years before that? Getting information out to your personally enrolled members about the holiday catalog.
Well, if you have a group, posting it in your Facebook group. I If you're not texting or using Project Broadcast, a lot of us would text or email. I'd used email a lot. I just ran a report in the back office, and you can copy and paste our posts. Mine's going to come up at 11. Copy and paste, pick a graphic out of there. Yeah, I mean, it's just, this is the time where we just need to maximize on everything that Young Living is doing. And it's super amazing. You guys are going to flip. Like if I had it all right here with me, I would just show it to you all right now. Stuff is so cute. They did a really great job at the stuff this year. It's just really cute, and stuff that you can literally buy for people. And I mean, not that you couldn't in the past, but some people don't want your oil stuff.
It's a little different.
But this year there's definitely some cute stuff that I think anybody who even is not an oil user would love. Yeah. And then, I mean, I would just say you need to be available for the next couple of hours and really send it out however which way you're going to send it out, because stuff starts going out of stock so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. Yay. Okay, guys. We're excited. And yes, thank you guys for being on the call. I'll download this and have it available for people that are at work right now. They can watch it over their lunch break. And we just wish amazing growth. Like Heather and I pray over you guys all the time. And we just are just asking such huge blessings of just growth for everybody that has been really focused over this harvest season. So we are so excited. And if you guys have any other questions, holler. If there's anything that we covered that you're like, tell me more about how to do that. Ask your closest upline, and we will get the information to you. So we love you guys, and we'll see you later. Let's go check out this holiday catalog.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.